Okay. So we read pages 4 through 11, and you said it was kind of a review?
Yeah.
Mostly review? Okay. What did other people think? What do you think?
I mean, well, it was review, but overall I liked it because I just like learning about things like that and ancient civilizations.
Okay. What did you like? What was cool?
Like in general, or just?
Yeah, just. And you can please have your computers out. And when we had a reading assignment, our routine would be sure your book is out too. You know, you can look at your notes from the last class. You know, that's a really smart thing to do before class. It's a great trip for college. Look at your notes from the last class before your new one. Also, maybe review have your book out and kind of be looking over the reading that's due that day.
Well, just overall, one thing that really interesting about the Aztecs is how they play the game, and like the game is a resemblance of soccer, where they would have to kick the ball through a hole.
Yeah.
Whoever lost that game would be sacrificed.
Yeah.
That was one point that was really interesting.
Was that in there?
No, that wasn't in that, but that's just like history. I had like movies and documentaries about them.
Oh, okay.
Things like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been to those fields where they used to play those games. It's pretty crazy.
Basically, like it was just like from the talking about like from the time people came to the New World.
Okay.
To like, and it was like from to where I stopped. It was like, you know, background about the people that came, and then like there's people after, like like it was background about people like the early Americans invaders.
Okay.
Well, some of those cultures like Aztecs and things like that, they originated from the Dogon clan.
I don't know.
Yeah, like my family did a lot of research about that. Like my grandmother did the research, my dad basically just done afterwards. And the Dogon clan was basically like one of the first clans to cross over into the America during the Ice Age. So from the Dogon became the Olmecs. Have you heard of the Olmecs before? Well, the Olmecs were one of the early civilizations before the Aztecs and things like that lived in that area.
Oh, cool. Cool. Okay, so you triggered some thoughts about some other knowledge that you have?
Also, just because like in Spanish, I did research about the Mayas.
Yeah.
They actually found out that some of the Mayan dialogue is also intertwined with in Japan and in other languages.
Cool. Okay. I've just taken notes on a couple of things you guys are saying. Some triggered interests and other responses. Yeah.
I like the map of what they thought it looks like America looked like earlier on.
Why did you like that? What was interesting about that?
Well, because it's just really like puts visually, it's like that they don't really know what they're exploring, and also like that it's just like, and it just shows how little they knew about the Americas, and like they don't really exactly know where they're going.
Yeah. In historically, yeah, go ahead.
I was also going to say that looking at this map, it shows how much we need technology today, because this is just really abstract and kind of weird looking.
What's the most remarkable? I mean, you're looking at that map. Let's look at that map. Just the map. What's really remarkable about that map?
How accurate it is.
It is fairly remarkable. What's the date on it?
1546.
It's pretty accurate. Pretty remarkable.
Didn't they actually create
what is the discipline of map making called? No, it's a kind of cartography. Okay. Cartography. What do you think of this? Who made this map? Sebastian Munster in 1546. What do you think of him as a cartographer?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. What's remarkable about his map? What do you notice? If you were looking at this thing, by the way, in historical terms, what's this thing called? What's this map called in terms of history?
Artifact.
Oh, you're thinking along the right term, along the right lines. Can a historian make historical arguments using a map like this?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's expert at it.
No? Can I say something about this Munster guy or people of his time by looking at this map? Why?
You can tell like where they went and like what they knew about the place.
Oh, I can tell that. I can insert some of those things, right? What would it be valid history for me to do that? Okay, remember when we read the Columbus logs?
Yes.
Yeah. What do we call those log entries?
Primary.
Primary source material, right?
Yes.
And for our history to be valid, it's got to be based on primary source material. So we read those entries from Columbus's log as primary source material, and we made some meaning of it.
Yes.
Right? What was our first conclusion?
That he was running to the king.
What was our first conclusion?
Desperate.
Sort of greedy, right? Remember, cruel, greedy, and exploitive. And then we kind of thought about it a little bit and changed our lens, our filter, our conceptual filter. And we said, whoa, you know, he's really cataloging stuff that's of value. I wonder if he's just logging stuff that is marketable to the king and queen. Maybe he's desperate. It's very different than calling him greedy. Okay, but some people, you can imagine, they would just look through, only have the lens of sort of good, bad, you know, sort of a moralistic lens, and they wouldn't look deeply into it, wouldn't look historically into it, so maybe conclude something totally different. So this map is primary source material too. It's a map from that time, and if you look at it, what do you think about Munster or the people of his time, if we're able to say that? What's remarkable about the map? Want the light on so you can see it better? What do you notice on that map?
It's like a flag.
Where's the flag?
I don't know the name of this.
You know?
See it? Yeah.
Where? Where is it?
It's near.
It's like near Cuba.
Oh, cool. What do you make of that?
Maybe it could be like a place that they went to and maybe conquered or took control of.
If you look in the bottom right, well, like near the bottom side right,
Yeah.
there's like, looks like to be another flag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Like
And it's got a
they wanted.
coat of arms on it, right?
They wanted
And it's, you know, I don't know, I'd kind of have to check, but it's the same color as the ship. So maybe they're staking out some territory that they've already established a presence in.
They also started to draw like trees and like mountains areas.
What do you think of that?
Well, he drew it.
They did. They didn't have to draw the pictures of those trees, and they didn't have to put mountains in there, so they did. That's notable. Why? I wonder why.
How do you think they come up with their names?
What do you mean?
Just stuff like cannibali.
Oh, good
Do
question.
you think cannibals were?
I don't know.
I think they thought cannibals.
Where is that?
It's right above that brush on the where Brazil would be.
On the right. Oh yeah. Oh, there's. If you read the caption, it does talk about how it's like cannibals were there. And
Okay.
also in the picture, it also had
Where is this? Where's this cannibal?
I don't know.
Right above that the brush of like it's all the trees lit up.
and also cannibals.
Next to that flag on the
Oh,
flag.
got it.
In the bushes.
What is that? What's cannibal was written along where?
Up in the
Up the thing, it says, and the indication of cannibali in present day Argentina, Brazil.
In Brazil, what's what on the map? What do you notice on the map?
It's
There's
like
a trees like a head and a leg.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty. I mean, this is a map. and they made a pretty big deal. I mean,
Right.
literally, the cannibalism is almost, it's about half the size of their consumption in North America, which is funny. Maybe not half, but it's pretty big, isn't it?
Well, what?
Like maybe avoid this region or something, I don't know. But
Back.
do you see the Amazon River on there?
No.
What about at the bottom it says buy
Amazon.
Hmm?
at the bottom? Those words, it's like 3 words at the bottom, like by the candle, under the candle.
And
Twilight Mart.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Something C.
Margaritaville.
Something
No, it says die. Die.
in the middle.
Yeah, the bowl.
Okay, so tell me something else that's kind of striking about this map when you look at it.
The ship.
Landform,
Okay, the landform, the shape.
The ship over to the left.
the details.
I was wondering what that is.
Okay.
In today's map, usually you don't see details such as the line.
Oh, so it's kind of artistic in some ways. It's
The names.
an interesting way of doing the water. The names. Okay. Anything else?
Interesting how like stretched it is.
Stretched.
Like especially with both North America and South America, but it's like east to west. It's like stretched a lot.
Yeah, you wonder why that would be. Like, why would, like if they were exploring, maybe it was a function of some of their cartographic methods. Maybe it was
It's like you can see
I really don't know why. What would lead to that?
Was this map accurate? What, you said this map was created back in like
This one?
No,
This one? Yeah,
What was-
1546.
Was it accurate?
Well, you can see it.
Because like
Can you
if it was accurate on the time back then, you could say that over time something caused for the land to change shape or something like that.
Oh, no. This is not accurate.
Okay.
But it is sort of accurate, isn't it? Can you see North America?
Yeah.
Can you see South America? Central America? Yeah.
What about India all the way up in the top? left?
Yeah. What do you think?
I didn't think India was that high up.
It's not that high up, and it's certainly not that close.
Yeah. That's
Right?
That's
Russia.
like Russia.
So what's interesting is this is a fairly accurate map, but boy, do they not get where they are. Okay, and you can see that on the map. You can say that about
Would
it.
that be where Japan is, or this?
Yeah, that little thing
Fine.
right there is supposed to be Japan.
Yeah.
Would that be Japan?
That would be Russia, I think.
It was kind of.
Where India is in this map is where
Yeah,
Russia would be.
yeah. So let's read. Can we read the text part that goes with the map? Just kind of. Do you want to do that? Is that okay? This map in 1546 by Sebastian Munster represents one of the earliest efforts to make geographic sense out of the New World. The very phrase New World suggests just how staggering a blow to the European imagination was the discovery of the Americas. So you gotta imagine that. Where do they think they're going? Where's Columbus going? India. And he bumps into this huge landmass with people he's never heard of, uncharted. And where does he think it is?
India.
Close to India.
That's what.
Okay? Calls the Native Americans Indians because he thinks that's where he is. I mean, no idea. And then they're trying to, yeah, absolutely. Because in their mind, you can see how what's in their mind shapes their map making. It shapes what they perceive. Just like what was in our mind when we read Columbus's document. If you got, you were kind of trained in a way to read those things and call that guy greedy. So we think about it a little bit differently now. We say, well, maybe he's greedy, maybe he's cool, yes, no, maybe so, but he's certainly under pressure to produce something of value.
Yeah,
Maybe he's desperate.
And my dad sort of had a conversation about that. How people are brought up to believe in other things. Like, like we brought it up. Like we wasn't having a religious conversation, but it was just an example. Like with religion, like if you're born in a certain community, or they just go, or it's one religion, you're brought up to see things in that religion point of view, and you're not taught to see things from a different religion.
Yeah, and that can be a great tool, right?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have a way of doing stuff. You know what it is, and then sometimes that can make it easier when you go to school because you can hear it when somebody says something different, and you know it's different because you know what you know. Does that make sense? Do you see the diagrams on the board here? Let me just, I think we did this, but I want to make sure you understand this. We did this, right?
Yeah.
If I created a diagram to outline an essay, what's that called? What are these called?
Main
ideas. What are these called?
Supporting.
Supporting detail, facts often. Okay? And then we drew this diagram, right? And I tilted it on its side, and I put the point in the guy's head. Right? He's wishing to argue that Columbus is greedy. I'm suggesting that he's looking at these documents, this primary source material, through a certain lens. Right? And that's kind of a moralistic lens. He's looking for good and bad, right and wrong, nice and bad, nice and greedy. Somebody else, with a different point of view, their lens, which of course is these lenses, of course, are really in their heads, right? But it's as though they were looking through a lens outside of their eye. And this one is looking through a lens that's kind of thinking bigger about it. What else could be going on here? Maybe he's greedy, but he could also be desperate. Could be under huge pressure that could be affecting his behavior. That paints a different picture of Columbus than if you just call him greedy with a superficial judgment. So everybody gets this, right? Okay? Where do we all come into this class with certain knowledge, certain conceptions, certain ways of thinking? I hope you will learn some new ones. Okay? Notice, we came in, I said, what do you think? And people were like, well, it's kind of pretty much review. And what did we start talking about?
Things in the past.
Things in the past, things we already knew. Right? I'm going to try to talk you into the benefits of not seeing it that way. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Yeah.
Okay, you said this was a primary source, but like even though it's not like completely accurate, can we still use these things as primary sources? They would still be considered primary
Absolutely.
sources?
What is a primary source?
A document from that period of
A
time.
document from that period of time. It has nothing to do with whether it's accurate or not.
Okay.
It has to do with some dude, Munster, who made a map. And if we looked him up, chances are he made a lot of maps, and he's a good cartographer. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this book. If the source were not good, it would not be in this book. Right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's finish this little part here. A huge blow to the European mind. Europeans reached instinctively for the most expansive of all possible terms, world, not simply places or even continents, to comprehend Columbus's startling report that lands and peoples previously unimagined lay beyond the horizon of Europe's western sea. Imagine that. You think you're kind of on top of a civilization game, and all of a sudden there's these land masses and people you've never heard of. You have to rework your head to make sense of that. Okay? And gradually, the immense implications. What does this mean? The immense implications of the New World's existence began to impress themselves on Europe, with consequences for literature, art, politics, the economy, and of course cartography. Can you see that? It's going to cause changes. How do we respond to these different kinds of people with different languages that we've never heard before? What are we going to do with these lands? Are we going to do anything? All these new questions. Everything's changing. So imagine this. You go through we're talking in big general terms, but you rediscover all this old knowledge that you didn't even know we had as people. You realize during the Renaissance, whoa, we know how to navigate. We have mapped the celestial bodies. We can predict where they move. People weren't doing that a whole lot in the Dark Ages or medieval period. They're paying attention to other stuff. They know some biology. They know some physics. Okay, so, whoa, So this guy sets up a school in Portugal. Guys like Columbus go to that school. They learn how to navigate, make ships, do stuff. So now they go traveling. So that's it, like that wasn't enough. Now they discovered this whole new world. What a time to be alive! What a time to be alive! Crazy. Maps can only be representations of reality, and therefore are necessarily distortions. This map bears a recognizable resemblance to modern map makers' renderings of the American continent, but it also contains gross geographic inaccuracies. Note the location of Japan relative to North American West Coast, as well as telling commentaries on what 16th century Europeans found remarkable. That huge indication of the cannibals, that really made its way into their consciousness, huh? What further clues did Europeans' mentality of the time does this map offer? In what ways might misconceptions about the geography of the Americas have influenced further exploration of settlement patterns? We could ask those questions and spend some time on that, but I don't really want to. What else did you find? What else struck you in reading? Yeah.
There was question mark on my face. Like,
A little cooler than
Don't drown yourself.
Friday. Did anybody notice?
Don't drown yourself.
Friday was pretty cool. But today's not so bad. And it's going to be even cooler coming.
I think
Yeah.
on page 12,
Yeah?
what they've known of is crazy because there's stuff even like right next to them.
What do you mean?
Like it says, the world known to Europe, 1492. Like there's still things like Africa, Australia, and Asia that they haven't like been to.
Yeah.
And it's right there.
Yeah. It is,
Yeah.
Say that again? Alan, tell me one more time.
I said it's like right next to them. So like the orange is like what they've
Yeah.
already been to and what they know of.
Yeah.
Like Africa, Asia, and Australia. The places like right next to them. But they still haven't like gone all the way through it yet.
Yeah. This does tell you something about human history, doesn't it? Look at, here's where the people... Why do you think this part of the world is known?
What? Probably the like most accessible parts from Europe to get
No
to.
doubt. And what's their vehicle of access?
It's like horses, cars.
Land. Or how would you explain this part? Pretty close to shore. Right? It's coastal navigation. What's it take to discover this?
Travel overseas.
Yeah, oceanic passage. Days, weeks without seeing land. It takes some confidence to do that, doesn't it? To get in the boat and go that way. And to have not seen land for a week or two. Okay, imagine the crew. Imagine managing a crew of uneducated guys. I don't know who gets on a boat, I don't know who takes that job. My guess is people without a lot to lose. And then they get on this boat, and you've got to keep them from going crazy, from mutinying. I mean, if Columbus did nothing else that was great, it was manage that crew. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. Think how often you see your team jump ship on the coach, or a class jump ship. Imagine no education. Imagine what was going on in their head. So that's crazy, isn't it? So what we've got with the discovery of the New World is something very new and different, isn't it?
Weren't they originally trying to go to India for spices?
Yeah, sure.
They're trying to find a different way.
They're trying to find a different way. Why were they trying to find a different way?
Because it took forever to go around the Cape of Good Hope.
Okay, that was long and dangerous, and
they believed the world was flat.
Why else didn't they go down around Africa? No. Whose was it? Who had done all that traveling?
Magellan.
Portugal. Didn't Portugal do that traveling? And then Spain, so Spain couldn't go that way? Then why did they stop going across the land?
roadblocks,
Hostile.
armies.
So you read about the Silk Road in Western Civ, right?
Yep.
World Civ class? You learned all about it. What happened? Why did they keep doing that?
They kept getting robbed.
They kept getting robbed? That's the deal Darnota always tells the story on his immersion. You have to be really careful because the people who will offer you drugs are the brother of the police people. Or they used to be. So the brother would, sell you something, take your money, and then he'd tell his brother, and his brother would arrest you. Right? And then he'd give you the then he'd take your stuff back, give it back to his brother, and do the same thing again.
Just go to jail.
So watch this. This is really fun. And yet, what's capitalism?
Money.
Money? It is money. What has to do with money?
I know that. I told you.
What's real? Anybody know the father of capitalism? Or the mother? No, he's the father.
George.
It's
Just say random presidents.
It's Alex. No, it's back.
Okay. Okay, what's
The person
capitalism?
at the bank.
What's capitalism?
Because economic system.
It is. It's an economic system. How does it work? What? What? What did you say?
I'm trying to think about. I didn't think I had it right.
What'd you say? It's okay.
I think government based off economic situation.
Does it have
How's the government handle like a lot of these economic situations?
Okay, so you're saying the government is involved with the economy in capitalism?
It's based upon individual.
It has anything to do with stocks? Like some things to do with stocks?
It's like when the government owns everything. Like all the companies.
Did you guys take government last year?
Yeah.
We talked about.
Did you learn about different kinds of economies?
Yeah.
We did.
Kind of rusty.
Okay, you're kind of rusty. That's okay. That's okay. What are some different kinds of economies? Economies. Not government.
Economy. Communism.
Communism is a kind of government. Yep.
Are we going like poverty rich or like is there a different scale?
Have you ever heard the term command economy?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
We didn't hear. Where did you hear this from?
Last year in government.
That
We
must have
didn't hear
been
nothing
AP.
like that.
That must have been AP go.
No.
Did you learn about command economies? What's a
We
command
didn't hear that.
economy?
Command and control economy.
What?
Command and controls. Like I don't know what command.
Talking about supply and demand or something like that?
No, there's a controlled economy too. But command economy isn't it when the government owns like.
Okay, what are the basic economic questions? Basic, super basic. What's a basic economic question? Who? I don't know if it's about who owns it. I don't know if that's basic because maybe nobody owns any.
Yeah.
Here's I want you to know this. Ready? Basic economic questions are who gets what, where, when, how, why, and when. Who gets it? In a command economy, who gets these shoes?
Whoever buys them.
In a command economy? Okay, whoever buys them, yeah, who gets to buy them? What's the price going to be? Who makes them? How many pairs get made? In a command economy, who makes those decisions? The government. So the king, the emperor, some authority says, make shoes like this. And it's a little bit hard to imagine, but in the Soviet Union, when it existed, were there 900 kinds of cereal on the shelf? No. 18 different brands of bread? No. Here, make these basic things. Who gets them? Who determined who gets them? The government? The government, in a command economy, some authority, the government usually, determines who gets it, how they get it, how much it costs, and even how they get it, okay? What kind of economy do we live in?
Market economy.
What's the opposite of a command economy? Free market, I guess one way maybe one way to say it. Or laissez-faire economy, hands off, right? Just let it go. But we live in a mixed economy. Okay, and watch this. Capitalism, well, let's see. I want you to know this name, Adam Smith. A-D-A-M-S-M-I-T-H, Adam Smith.
A-D-A-M-S-M-I-T-H.
And he writes this book and publishes it in 1776.
What is that one? Constitution? We got independence.
What?
Is that the Constitution or independence?
When the United States declared its independence, when the colonies declared their independence, 1776. So it's an easy date to remember. In the book he writes, is
Right.
We'll get back to our book in a second. He writes a book called Wealth of Nations in 1776. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. In 1776, why does the chalk fall to the ground? What? In 1776, why does that happen? Gravity. When's Newton? 1600. Yeah, 1600. So Newton's already, what is Newton identified? Natural laws. Okay? Natural laws. Stuff like gravity. You're a scientist, you study nature. If you're a physicist, you study stuff like that. If you're a biologist, you study circulation. If you're a navigator, you study the sky. You study boats. You see what will make the wood, fasten well together, and what will keep the mast from breaking. You're going to study the truth about stuff. And they come across these natural law things. In 1776, Adam Smith thinks he's found the natural laws of economics. He says there are natural laws, and the governments need to get out of the economy. And we need to let these natural laws take their course. Watch this. If I chart make a chart. Let's see. If this is price, I don't know how you're going to do this. Here, just watch this for a second. Don't worry about notes for a second. If I said this is price, this on this axis is price, and that's quantity. What happens to quantity as my price goes from X to Y? My quantity does what? Goes back? So as price goes up, so what kind of a curve is that? First of all, does that make sense? If I charge $50 for these shoes, well, if I charge $10 for these shoes, what's going to happen?
There's none left.
Yeah,
There's going to be none left. That's exactly right. I'll actually have a shortage because it's a great shoe. If I raise the price to $200, what's going to happen? Probably not going to sell anybody. They're really good shoes, but not that good. So what kind of a curve is that? It's a demand curve. It is a demand curve. Does that make sense? I mean, what the quantity demanded is going to be a function of the price. The price is going to be a function of the quantity demanded. Is that right? What if I do this? As my price in this one goes from X to Y, as my price goes up from X to Y, what happens to my quantity demanded? It goes up. So what kind of a curve is this?
Supply.
Supply. Are you kidding me? If it costs $20 to make this shoe, then I can sell it for $120. What am I going to do? Make them. Supply them. Does that make sense? So it's just natural. Duh. Right? It's just natural. That's what Adam Smith is saying. Come on, guys. Government should not be in the business of determining who gets what, where, when, how, and why. And here's why. If I make... Oh, let me make this point. At price Y, right? At price Y, could you relate the quantity demanded to the quantity supplied? At price Y, what's the deal? What's the deal? Tell me something about the relationship between the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied.
In one, it's like when there's like a lot of it, you want the price to go down so that you can get it. But if you can find it somewhere cheaper than that price, then the quantity. But
at $120, if this is $120, what's the story on my quantity demand?
There's not a lot.
Not a lot. What's the story on my quantity demand supply?
There's a lot. There's a lot, so the price will be cheaper.
So as a business guy, what's the deal? I got a bunch of extra shoes. So what do I have to do?
Lower your price.
Lower the price. Right? What's that called? When you have more stuff that we can sell. Surplus. What about, tell me something about the relationship between the quantity supplied at, let's just say, point A, the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded at price A.
No.
At price A, what's the deal with the quantity supplied? Not very much. And what's the deal with the quantity demanded? A whole bunch. Okay. Notice this intersection right here? What Smith says is just leave it alone. Government get out of the economy, let the invisible hand take over. It's laissez-faire in terms of the government, stay out of it. And here's the deal. I will make a great shoe, like Air Jordans. Let's say this is Air Jordan. If I can make a really good shoe, it costs me $20 to make this thing, and I can get Michael Jordan to endorse it. What can I sell this thing for? Huh?
170.
Yeah. Okay, I can sell it for 170, right? Can I get that, even though it costs me $20 to make?
Yeah.
I could do it, couldn't I? Now, if Charles is making these Air Jordans and he's got Michael Jordan, it's costing $20-30 to make it, and he's selling it for 170. What am I going to do as a fellow supplier?
Put it cheaper.
Well, he makes them, but what am I going to do?
He makes it and you sell it?
He makes the Air Jordan. I can't do Air Jordans. Charles is already doing it. What can I do though?
Can't you make the same shoe?
Yeah, I make another shoe that's a lot like this shoe, and I get. Give me something. Kobe Bryant to endorse it. Maybe I can't command the same price as an Air Jordan, but would I be willing to sell for 150? If it only costs me 20 or 30 to make? And who else is going to do that? Everybody. Now, what happens to the specialness of the Michael Jordan shoe? Yeah, it starts to get diluted and it comes down. What kind of a shoe do people really, really want? One like that. What do suppliers make? One like that. And what happens to the price of ones like that? It goes down. Adam Smith is just like, he loves this thing.
I actually like it.
Huh?
Like, why do you say Adam Smith loves it? Why?
Because he thinks that if the governments get out of the economy, he likes competition, but that's not his driver. And think of this date, 1776. Think of that date. His driver is this natural law thing applied to the economy. His driver is thinking like an Enlightenment guy. He's thinking about people being created equal. He's thinking about let not natural laws advance. And what he's thinking about is people will get what they want, what they really, really want, for the best price. If you make a crappy shoe, who's going to buy it?
No one.
Nobody. Well, if you want to sell shoes, what are you going to have to do? Make a better shoe. Now, can I make a crappy shoe and sell a lot of them? Yeah. What does it take?
Cheap price.
People out there that can't afford a better shoe, right? I can sell some real junk out there if there's enough people in that income. If there's nobody, if everybody's got plenty of money and nobody wants a crap shoe, you won't sell the crap shoe. Does that make some sense? So, think about this. He's thinking that people will get what they want for the best possible price if you just let laws of supply and demand take their course. And you see that, don't you, sometimes? How much these computers cost 10 years ago? Thousands. I got a $1,000 computer that'll blow my $3,000 computer away. Okay, so many people buying them, so many people tell them what they want, and they produce that, and whew, that's a market in action. Okay, now here's the thing. We know Adam Smith's name. You with me? Just interesting, a little bit interesting? A little bit, I hope. This capitalism. Capitalism is about letting these laws of supply and demand interact. Now, what's the deal? Who's going to come along and say that capitalism thing is a bunch of hokey? It's a bunch of crap. Nope. Somebody's going to come along and say, it's a great idea, it just doesn't work. Who's going to say that?
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx. And when?
Like late 1800s, I think.
1848.
Wow.
Okay, he's going to publish a book, and he's going to say, it's a really good idea, but here's the deal. If Nike is paying $20 or $30 to sell that shoe, if they own so much, they're this mega corporation, can I really compete with that? You can't really compete with it. Oh, and by the way, if I could compete, and we're all competing to make these shoes, and then the market is driving us toward the lowest price possible for what we get, what will we do? Like you're down to your cost to sell this shoe. What are you going to do?
Not make a profit.
Who does that? So how are they going to try to make profit? What are they going to start doing once we get down to where there's no profit?
They might take on other ideas of that same.
How about this one? I've been making $100 on every pair of shoes. Now I'm making nothing, and you all work for me.
You're fired.
Stop making shoes.
I might fire some people. What might I do? I've been paying you $10 an hour. What might I do?
Lower them.
I'm not paying you. I lower your benefits. I lower your salary. Right? You might understand that for a little while, but then it could become very exploitive, right? The only way I know how to lower my costs, my bottom line, is to maybe not pay for my garbage to be taken away. Maybe I dump it in the river. Maybe instead of disposing in the proper way, I do it in a cheap way. Do you understand? So what Adam Smith is people get what I want for the best price, and it's so good. What Marx was suggesting was that it actually creates tension between classes, particularly between the people who own the property and the people who do the work. The capitalists who own the major means of production and the people who supply the labor. Does that make sense? And the other thing is, Henry Ford is a great story. His workers realized when he was making Model T Fords, he was selling a gazillion of them, and his workers went to him and said, "Yo, Henry, you're making a ton of money, and we think we deserve a little bit more in the way of benefit from all the money you're making." So they went on, and he said, "No, it's my company, I make these cars." And the people said, "Fine, we'll go on strike." This is early 20th century. And he said, "Okay, go on strike." And they did, and then they arranged a meeting, and they met a week later or something, and they said, "Look, if you don't give us more money, which you can afford, we're going to stay on strike. I mean, you won't be able to make any cars without our labor." And Henry Ford looked at him and said, "Good, you go on strike. I can last 2 years. How long can you last?" You get it? He didn't need any money for 2 years. How long did those families go without money? Okay. Alright, so you get it, right? Now you read it, you kind of read about this, but it didn't click with you, and I think it's kind of cool.
He didn't.
What kind of government, or what kind of economies do they have in Europe?
In Europe?
Yeah, in the 15th, 16th centuries. Huh? They have command economies. They have command economies. What kind do they have in Asia?
Capital.
Huh? Command economies. Some king says to another king, "Hey, send me a whole caravan of sugar and spice and everything nice." Right? And the king says, "I'll send you, I'll give you $1,000 for a wagon load of sugar, spice, and everything nice." What's the Asian emperor, leader, businessman say? "Hate to tell you, but for that size wagon of sugar, spice, and everything nice, it's going to cost you more than $1,000. It's going to cost you 15." And what's the king in Europe say?
Maybe not.
Not that high.
Yeah, okay, right.
1250.
How about 1250? And the Asian says, "You don't know who you're dealing with, 1600. And what's the king say? When I was bidding on my house, we made the mistake. We loved this house. We bought it. Everybody knew we loved it. We kind of bargained to hold it back. We offered 100 and what was it? I think the asking price was 112. We offered 95. The guy countered with 115, and we bought it." So pathetic. But anyway, you should have seen me in India. Like, you have to barter anything, you know, and haggle, and I just said, "Dr. Birdie," and then Dr. Birdie would come in and bargain with these guys, and she would make them cry. Oh my God. Oh my God. It would cost $100, and Dr. Birdie would say, "That is ridiculous," you know, and she'd say, "I'll give you 20." You know, and by the time we got done, the guy would pay her to take it away and just be crying, you know, full-grown merchant men just crying like babies, and I just walk away with whatever I want. But anyway, so they're determining who gets what and what the price is going to be, right? Now here's the deal, though. They agree on this price, and it's going to be $1,500 for this caravan of goodies. Now, what's the deal getting that thing from Asia to Europe? You know, it's really funny, but I get the $1,500 thing, but if you want safe passage through this region, you're going to have to pay some people who can make sure that it gets through there safely. And if you don't pay them, what happens?
You're robbed.
So what's happening to the price here? Price is going up. What, you see the supply and demand happening? What starts happening with these middlemen along the traditional trade routes, they start driving up the cost of goods and business. It's capitalism. It's not really capitalism, but it's the beginnings. What's really determining the cost of these goods? Supply and demand. You see it? These two governmental leaders who've negotiated a price, they can't control it. and it gets marked up along the way. Do you see why maybe you start to try to find a different way? If you have new technology and knowledge that would help you do it? Okay?
Wait,
What?
we're back on that.
Yeah.
That's how we got here.
What?
I forgot how we got here because of having a head.
Like why they were going.
Yeah. Do you see it? So now you've got the knowledge of the Renaissance, you've got the extension of the Enlightenment ideas, you've got new technologies, you've got economic, bioeconomic.
It's not ABC, it's A12, cat, dog.
And you can't. Oh, you made the connection.
I didn't notice that until you said
Yeah, like I just thought that. I thought that A, cat, dog.
When you do the arrow, I remember I was like, oh yeah,
The
because
great
every time
red
my life,
one.
like every time I had a different way to go.
Yeah, and they can't go this way because the Portuguese kind of run the show there. Okay? So good, you're making some connections. I don't say too many things that won't pay off somewhere else, but it's not linear. Okay, and I try to do it when it feels like it will work. It's not that I don't have a plan to do, but I'm also really well prepared, and sometimes I think when you do it is as important as what you do. Okay? When I was doing my flight instruction, I trained with, it's called 61, part 61, and anyway, I would go with a very good flight instructor, but I kind of wanted to have a higher level training experience. I went to a 141 school, and I paid double the price for the instruction and more for the airplanes. Okay? And they had it all written out in a syllabus and a plan, and I swear to God we would go in the 141 school and practice crosswind landings when there was no crosswind, because that's what we were supposed to do that day. Training in the other section, my instructor would do that day whatever the conditions were perfect for. Which do you think was a better, more meaningful experience?
The first one.
Yeah. But I got it in my head, oh, let's do it like the professional pilots do. Oh no, I was actually getting better training in the, with a local guy in the field out there. So I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants in here, but sometimes if we can make the lesson work, we will. Are you getting a better sense for what's driving people this way? Yeah. Cool. Okay. We've got. You only went through page 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to, for Friday, I want you to read the rest of the chapter. And I'm going to ask you to answer 7 questions, or to apply 7 questions to that.
Let's do it on Friday.
Let's do on Friday.
Read my plan out.
Can somebody turn the light off for me for a sec?
Just 7 questions?
Yep. And we're going to write them down right now. Somebody, will you pull the screen down?
Yeah, we want to read the 7 questions. Oh, okay.
There. So what did we just do? We did capitalism. Capitalism.
Talked about Karl Marx and Adam Smith.
What did we get at the end, Alan? What did we connect at the end? Why they went west?
Why they went west?
Why west? Connection, nice. Okay. So you got primary sources in there too, right? Okay. Okay. What I'm going to call these, we're going to just introduce these straight up. The 7. Have we talked about these?
I have in tech class.
Okay, not in here though? That's okay, don't mention it. 7 conversational questions. In a nutshell, what does the author Kennedy and Cohen, right? Wish to target. Two. What key concept forms the foundation of the author's argument? Three. What important question is the author addressing? 4. What story is the author telling? 5. What has the author, or what might the author have experienced personally, professionally, economically, politically, socially, blah 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 blah. Experience that could be shaping their argument and the way they're presented.
What's wrong question?
I know, it's such a great question. It's the best one in the whole bunch. Number 6. How does the author use language inside? What method do they use? Okay? Now, what I want you to do for Friday is read chapter 1, and I want you to answer these 7 questions. And I want you to do it in as concise a way as you can.
You want it on the learning log or just in an output?
Learning log is fine. In your September learning log, just put it right in there. And okay, I'm going to take these off, and we're going to start this together. Okay? And what I want you to do, copy, right? Velcro, applied to Kennedy and Cohen, chapter 1. Oops. Oh, I hate it when this happens. Come in, pay us a lot.
Take Brian Mark.
Not here. He left sick.
Huh?
Mott, he left sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tuberculosis.
I guess I'll catch you tomorrow then. See you. Sorry to
Hey,
interrupt.
you're fine.
We'll do it tomorrow.
In nutshell, Kennedy and Cohen wish everybody's going to do this the same. We should argue that, and now we're going to go all the way back to where we started the class. Who is Kennedy and Cohen? I bored you to tears on Friday afternoon with this whole thing about the authors. Who are they?
Excellent people who taught at very honorable universities.
Pulitzer Prize-winning authors, renowned historians, top-flight intellectuals, professors at Stanford and Harvard, right? Do you think that they wrote a book to say what everybody kind of already knew or already heard in 8th grade? Same old, same old? Did he make a career doing that? And remember, I don't know if you read Bailey. Bailey's the guy who started the book, and he considered this textbook his life's work. So, my feeling, what are they saying in chapter 1? Let me ask you this. What's the topic of chapter 1? What's the topic? Everything, I want you to work simply and efficiently, and so you have your books out. What is the topic of chapter 1?
Western expansion.
Nope.
New world beginning.
New world beginnings. What is the time period of chapter 1?
33,000 BC.
You are kidding me. 33,000
What the heck?
BCE to when?
1769.
To 1760. How long a time period is that?
A lot.
That is
34,000 years.
Long time period. 17 what?
69.
1769.
34,769 years.
What is it?
34,769 years.
769 years. That is lovely, Jonathan. That is lovely. The topic of chapter 1 is almost 35,000 years. With a focus on what?
The New World.
The New World. That's the topic. What are Kennedy and Cohen arguing about that topic? I'm going to save you so much mileage. You guys, when you get to college and you're still using this stuff and you're popping A's with it, don't send me a thank you email. Take out your checkbook. Okay? Alright? I don't want that. Oh, Mr. Spires, this is so great. I used it again and I got another. I don't want that. I just want money. Okay? Alright? No thank yous, no appreciation, just money.
Money. He gives you money.
What? I get that. I used to get cards. I get cards from people who are in college, and they say, I know you wanted money, but, and then they give me some squishy thank you. But anyway, I'm just kidding. This doesn't go to my head, because I learned it from somebody, and it turned out to be a great tool. Okay, so let it work for you. It will. So in a nutshell, what are Kennedy and Cohen, these pretty prominent historians, what are they arguing about the New World beginnings? What are they arguing?
That they were not purposefully silent. That the New World was not purposely, started.
Okay.
It was all.
So she's obviously delirious and way off the mark. And I completely disagree with her.
Maybe.
And I don't like her shoes. So what do? Where did you get that from? Where did you get that idea from? It's a great idea. You're dead on. You're on the mark. Where did you get that idea from?
But you're wrong. You got scared.
Where did you get that idea? You make that up?
The book that they wrote.
Give me your page number. Every one of these answers, every one of your answers has to have a page number, so that if somebody says, I just don't know, then you can say, well, if you go to page 12, it says, whoa.
It says indirect discoveries of the New World on page 10.
So, indirect discoveries of the New World on page 10, it makes it look like it's a little bit of an act. Is that right?
What? Indirect discovery?
Yeah, what's in there? What's in that section? Some dude already found it, right?
Yeah.
He didn't stay.
I said the Scandinavian, it
Yep.
talked about the Scandinavians.
Okay, so they kind of started as nobody. And then what else is in that?
And then it says, for several centuries thereafter, other restless Europeans with the growing power of ambitious governments on them sought contact with the wider world.
Okay, so
And
okay,
they completely accidentally discovery of the New World.
yeah. And then the thing about Christian Crusaders coming back with news, and the ability to go to the New World, the ability to go to the New World has obviously been there for a while, because some guy went there. The taste for these goods and services, these spices, sugar and spices and everything, that's been there for a while. What's driving these people to go now?
They're wanting to obtain those spices.
To get those goodies, the whole Renaissance thing, the new technology, the middlemen in Central Asia, arguably supply and demand.
Everything is based around
Okay.
money, so money.
Yep. But okay. So it's in that section. The idea these guys aren't doing it on purpose. Where else are you getting this idea of what they're arguing? Where do you often find a thesis statement? Often at the beginning. Look at the beginning of this chapter and see if you can see anything that sounds like, whoa, might be a thesis statement.
Third paragraph.
Third paragraph, read it.
500 years ago, only a few seconds figuratively speaking, European explorers stumbled on the Americas. This dramatic accident forever altered the future of both the Old World and the New, and Africa and Asia.
Yeah, what's this whole section, the shaping of the new America? It's like the Canadian Shield and these mountains and those mountains and a desert and a river and a partridge and a pear tree. What are they saying about that geography and that geology? What? It just happened. It wasn't by some design, and it's going to have huge consequences, right?
For them, for the people that's already on the ground.
For who? For the whole planet. Yeah.
You wouldn't be here.
Listen. Did you read about dense native? Hey, stay with. Did you read about dense Native American populations?
Yes.
Where are the populations dense? Where generally?
Generally on the coast.
Generally along the coast. Which coast? The New England coast? Okay, where it's warmer? Further south? Central America, yes or no?
Yeah.
South America, yes or no? Southwestern North America, yes or no? All places with dense Native American populations. Northeastern North America? Sparse population densities.
But die.
What determined where it was sparse or dense?
Availability of
Those northeastern Indians, they just said, we don't like cities. We're going to live in
horses
What is it
pushing
like
them out.
and then the ones down in the southwest, they said, hey, let's grow cities and study the sky.
Maybe they went to the land that was most available where they got
What does
forced
your
out.
book say? Led to those different settlement patterns. I think
weren't
you're
they
there.
weren't they nomads?
I think you're not there. You're not there. I think maybe you're not there yet. Did you read about
Development of maize?
Yes. And what farming technique? Three-sister farming.
Sister farming.
And if you could, you could do all that. Then you could support large population densities. And when the Europeans come, which is easier to conquer? Sparsely settled folks or densely settled folks? What happens if corn grew in northeastern North America real well and they had dense population? England surely would not have been able to colonize. And what's that a function of, arguably? Like the weather and where corn grows. You get the accidental nature of it? And Spain is dealing with a different bird. Did you read about Montezuma?
Yes.
Did you read about him?
Last year.
Well, not last year. Because now listen, we are not, I want to continue to engage what your interests are and what you've learned in the past, but do you see how important it is to focus on what's right under your nose? We are not studying the history of the United States. We're not studying what happened. We're not. We're not studying the American Revolution. We're not settling the peopling of North America. We're not studying World War I or World War II. We are studying what Kennedy, Cohen, and Bailey say about it in this book. Does that make sense? What are they saying about the founding of the New World? It was a series of dramatic accidents. What's their key? So could we say that? In a nutshell, Kennedy and Cohen wish to argue that the founding of a series of dramatic accidents set the stage for the founding of the new country. Could I argue that? The geology sort of set the stage. The geography set the stage. You know, these guys, we had an ice age. There was an ice age, and it exposed the land bridge from Asia to North America. And what did some people do?
Migrate.
They migrated. Did they go say, hey, let's find a new country? And by the way, I hear the beaches in California are great. Is that what happened?
No.
What'd they do?
Didn't they just follow food?
They followed food, man, with no intention. No idea what that would lead to. And it led to the peopling of North America. Okay? Here's another thing. That geologic reality made the people of North America not develop the immunities that they did on other continents. So when the Europeans brought disease with them, the Native Americans who had been protected by that cold barrier had no immunity, and it wiped them out. 90% of them gone in decades. Okay, we always think big bad Europeans. How much impact do you think disease had? Enormous. 54 million people decimated by disease. And when Native Americans got sick, by the way, who got sick? Just the poor people? Just the elite? Everybody. The priests, the government officials, the poor people. What do you start thinking about your culture when you can't control what's going on? What do you start thinking? What do we do? This white guy comes along, he doesn't seem to be getting sick. Would you listen to him? You know, you might be prone to listening to him. And you'll read about Montezuma tonight, and I think he's got some political reaction. In any case, so in a nutshell, Kennedy and Cohen, it seems to me, wish to argue that a series of dramatic accidents set the stage for the founding, for the beginning of European culture in the New World. But it's not European culture, is it? It's a mixed culture. You could refine that. You could say a series of dramatic accidents set the stage for an unprecedented type of civilization in North America. Right? Because these Spanish people, they don't want to go west, but they kind of have to. If it hadn't been for the situation with the Muslim middlemen, they wouldn't have gone that way. And because it went, look what happened. I mean, it's crazy. By the way, can you imagine this thesis being very uncomfortable for some people? A series of dramatic accidents. Who could that be really uncomfortable for? Huh? Could be. Can you imagine somebody feeling like this is by design? In that case, if you felt it was by design and all of a sudden these people are arguing that this is just a series of accidents, that can make you really uncomfortable. What I'm trying to show you is that the point that these authors are making is a point. Okay? But by the way, why do you think, what's our, question number 2, what's the key concept that's the foundation of the argument to put in front of the chapter? What's the key concept?
That it was an accident.
What's the key concept? Dramatic accidents. Would you agree? Dramatic accident. So when we do concepts, I'm just looking for a word or two. Okay, when it's in a nutshell, what is the answer? I'm looking for a statement, a sentence, a good one. You know, in a nutshell, what was Corday arguing? Well, what he was arguing is what we're doing today is related to what we were talking about before. What's his key concept? That will pay off, bringing that stuff to the table. I countered with the idea it could actually get in your way, because you go with old knowledge instead of seeing what's right under your nose. Does that make sense? Okay. What a really important historical question is being asked about the founding, about the New World beginnings, especially related to the United States. What really important? Like, what question are they answering in that chapter? Do you think? Huh?
How did we get here?
Maybe what events led to the founding of...
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think the United States is a unique country? Is there something called the American pageant, like a parade of things that are American that's a little bit different than a lot of what you find in the rest of the world? Well, how did that happen? And what did the period 33,000 BCE to 17 whatever it is, what did that at all impact that? Do you think it did? Oh my God! Right? Okay. And then so anyway, what story? Telling the story of all these crazy indirect and accidental things that happened that gave shape to the very first really diverse culture, something like that. Okay. Number 5 is very speculative, and that's what I want you to do. What do you think Kennedy and Cohen have experienced, maybe, that's causing them to put forth this argument in the way they're doing it? Does that make sense? And then the language, how do they use language? I just want some adjectives. Is it clear? Is it persuasive? Is it easy to understand? Is it off-putting? Is it aloof? Okay, just a couple. Just a couple, 2, 3 is probably enough. And then how do they use method? I'll help you with that one, don't worry about that. They're always going to be using a historical method, so we're going to answer it with like, oh, he showed us this map that demonstrated that what the Europeans were wrestling with at that time. Oh, he took this quote from Columbus and integrated it into the narrative. So we're going to use that question to help us see what it is. We good?
Yep.
Alright, I hope you got some stuff.
Alright, Josh.
Have a good afternoon.
We'll go in alphabetical order. I got it Friday.
What?
We're in power strip duty.
Oh,
alphabetical order. No, we're starting from the beginning of the alphabet.
Is it possible that what it says in there is more interesting than what you thought it said in there? Or no? No hope.
Certainly some new things.
Remind me to ask.
Oh, really? Really? You do everything but mine.
Josh, you were good at power.
Josh, you're lucky you had a small day.
Josh, you're lucky you was sitting over there.
What's up?
Josh, you laugh like you don't you get